This is part 7 of set 6 of our Values Ed Majorship Enhancement Drills. Let's continue. Number 121. As a period in history when there appeared to be a consensus among parents, religious group, and society, values education consisted of number 1, inculcating, number 2, modeling, number 3, values clarification. Options: letter A, 1 and 2, letter B, 1 and 3, letter C, 2 and 3, and letter D, 1, 2, and 3. Your answer should be letter A, 1 and 3. Ang values education in earlier times, ng mga unang panahon, relied on inculcation and modeling where values were directly taught by reinforcement, instruction, and setting examples by parents, religious leaders, and society. Yung inculcating involves actively teaching values through direct instruction, repetition, and reinforcement. Yung modeling naman refers to demonstrating values through behavior, allowing learners to emulate these actions. Yung number 3, values clarification, is a more recent approach that focuses on students analyzing and making personal choices about values rather than accepting them outright. Traditional value education or traditional values education did not emphasize individual reflection as much as it did direct instruction. Yung 1, 2, and 3 is incorrect. Yung letter D, 1, 2, and 3 is incorrect because values clarification was not a significant part of early values education method. So, letter A only. Yung iba ay mayroon nakalagay na 3. So, yan yung isang style sa sa test taking, bawasan yung eliminate, yung the process of elimination. Kunyari, nakita mo na yung number 3, values clarification, hindi siya kasama sa pagpipilian mo dapat. So, lahat ng options na may number 3, i-eliminate mo na kaagad para tumaas yung chances of getting the correct answer. So, in this case, yung B, C, and D, mayroon silang number 3, kaya eliminated sila lahat. So, A lang yung natira. So, 121 is letter A. Number 122. The last stage in the values process in the actualization stage, it means that A, you have taught the values. Letter B, you believed in the values. Letter C, you have internalized the values. And letter D, you have shared the values. Anong tamang sagot dito? Ang sagot mo dapat is letter D. Bakit you have shared the values, hindi yung letter A? Well, the actualization stage in values education refers to applying and living out values in real life. So the final step in this process is sharing those values with others, demonstrating a full internalization and commitment to those principles. Kasi mahirap i-share or ituro kung di mo naman alam, di ba? Nemo that code non habit. We cannot give what we do not have. So yung letter A, taught the values. Teaching values is an earlier stage in the process, not the last step. Yung letter B naman, believe in values. Belief is part of internalization but not the final stage of actualization. At yung letter C, internalize the values. Well, internalization occurs before actualization, and one must live and share values for complete actualization. So 122 is letter D. Number 123. Michelle Obama said, "We learned about gratitude that so many people had a hand in our success, from the teachers who inspired us to the janitors who kept our school clean. And we were taught to value everyone's contribution and treat everyone with respect." What virtues are school children supposed to learn based on this quote? Letter A, respect and trust. Letter B, kindness and respect. Letter C, gratitude and humility. Letter D, hope and gratitude. And your answer should be letter C, gratitude and humility. Well, Michelle Obama's quote highlights the importance of recognizing and appreciating the contributions of others, from teachers to janitors, emphasizing that success is a collective effort rather than an individual achievement. So, this directly relates to gratitude which involves acknowledging and appreciating the help and support of others, and humility, which means understanding that no success is achieved alone, and treating all people with equal respect. Yung gratitude and humility are also foundational values in Filipino culture, if you remember, where utang na loob, di ba, debt of gratitude, is deeply ingrained, teaching students to appreciate and respect all contributions regardless of social status. So yung letter A is incorrect kasi while respect is mentioned in the quote, trust is not a central theme. So the quote emphasizes acknowledging others' contributions rather than building trust. Yung letter B naman, while these are important, di ba, yung kindness and respect. So these are important values. So the quote focuses more on recognizing the contributions of others, which is gratitude, and in staying humble about personal success, which is humility, rather than acts of kindness. At yung letter D is also incorrect kasi gratitude is present but hope is not explicitly emphasized in the quote. So the statement does not focus on future aspirations but rather on appreciating the present contributions of others. So 123 is letter C. Number 124. What learning experience development program intends to inculcate dignity of labor and efficient work habits and skills? Letter A, manpower development training. Letter B, agricultural extension classes. Letter C, work-oriented curriculum. And letter D, non-graded instruction. Ang tamang sagot dapat dito ay letter C. Work-oriented curriculum integrates hands-on, vocational, and technical training to develop work ethics and skills essential for employment and productivity. Yung letter A, manpower development training, focuses on skills improvement, but it's typically for adults, not within the school curriculum. Yung naman, letter B, agricultural extension classes. This is concerned with agricultural techniques rather than general work ethics and skills. Yung letter B naman, non-graded instruction, focuses on flexible learning pace, not specifically on work habits and skills. So 124 is letter C. Number 125, which should values education teacher do? Number 1, respect the value system of his or her pupils. Number 2, impose his or her value system on his or her pupils. Number 3, offer his or her value system to his or her pupils. Letter A, 1 only. Letter B, 1 and 2. Letter C, 1 and 3. And letter D, 2 and 3. Ang tamang sagot ay letter C, 1, respect the value system of his or her pupils. And 3, offer his value system to his or her pupils. So, bakit ito ang tamang sagot? Values education teacher should respect students' values while also offering new perspectives to help broaden their understanding. So the teacher acts as a facilitator rather than an enforcer. So yung number 2, impose their value system. Well, imposing values contradicts the constructivist approach, which emphasizes critical thinking and personal discernment. So number 125 is letter C. Number 126. Miss Valenzuela would like to find out how much learning experience have been mastered by her students at the end of the school year. What type of tool will she use? Letter A, placement. Letter B, achievement. Letter C, attitude. And letter D, diagnostic. So the answer should be letter B, achievement. An achievement test measures what students have learned and mastered over a specific period. Diba? Like buong taon, 1 year or 1 term, for example. So it evaluates learning outcomes in relation to instructional objectives. Yung letter A used to determine the appropriate level for a student at the beginning of the course or of a career or a program, educational program. So yung letter C, attitude, assesses attitudes and beliefs rather than learning mastery. Yung diagnostic naman is it identifies learning gaps before instruction, not after. So, diagnostic test bago at the beginning. So 126 is letter B. 127. If a teacher wants to curb delinquency among teenagers, what must be his first step? Letter A. Diminish the activities of lawmen. Letter B. Strictly enforce discipline through punishment. Letter C. Re-establish the influence and authority of parents or guardians over their children. And letter D. Isolate children from friends of bad influence. Your answer should be letter C. Re-establish the influence and authority of parents or guardians over their children. A strong family foundation is critical in values formation and discipline. Alam mo yan. Strengthening parental guidance can prevent delinquency by providing moral and emotional support from within the family. Ang letter A, diminish the activities of lawmen. Well, law enforcement plays a role but is not a primary solution. Yung letter B naman, overly strict discipline can lead to rebellion rather than positive behavior. At yung letter D, well, socialization is necessary for growth and guidance is more effective than isolation. So 127 is letter C. 128. Transformative values education demands a radical change, which is or are necessary. Number 1, the act of free will. Number 2, supreme sacrifice or supreme self-sacrifice. Number 3, promulgation of laws. Letter A, 2 only. B, 1 only. C, 1 and 2. And letter D, 1, 2, and 3. Ang tamang sagot dito ay letter C, 1 and 2, an act of free will, and supreme self-sacrifice. So, transformative education requires a conscious decision. Yan yung free will. Conscious decision to adapt values and, in some cases, a sacrifice to uphold ethical principles. So, yung number 3, promulgation of laws. While laws help enforce moral behavior, true transformation occurs through personal change, not legal mandates. So, 128 is letter C. Number 129, school counseling's main focus is letter A, students with serious problem. Letter B, improvement of social or total personality. Letter C, adjustment to any situation in life. And letter D, enhancement of decision-making skills. Ang tamang sagot ay letter B, improvement of total personality. Counseling helps students develop self-awareness, social skills, and emotional intelligence for holistic personal growth. Yung letter A, students with serious problems. Well, counseling is for all students, not just those with major issues. Yung letter C naman, adjustment to any situation. A goal, this is a goal but not the main focus. No. At yung letter D, decision-making skills. This is important but only part of broader personality development. So number 129 is letter B. 130. Which of the following reflects the andragogical approach in teaching values education? Letter A, reciprocity. Number 1, reciprocity in teaching learning. Number 2, experimental methods of teaching. Number 3, making use of learning for tomorrow's needs. And number 4, formatting community of leaders. Letter A, 1, 3, and 4. Letter B, 1 and 2 only. 1 and 3 only. Letter C, all. And letter D, 2 and 3. So, ang tamang sagot dito dapat, teachers, ay letter C, all. Bakit all? Andragogy, or adult education, or adult learning, emphasizes reciprocity, experiential learning. This is most probably not experimental. Most probably this is experiential kasi in the previous sets, this is the correct wording, experiential. Tapos yung number 4, forming. So, sometimes you have to make sense of the question because if you saw this, for example, any item in the previous let or previous sets, most probably there were typo error or grammatical errors pagka naiba. Well, anyway, sa number 130, andragogy or adult learning emphasizes reciprocity, experiential learning, application for future needs, and community engagement. Excuse me. All of which are essential in values education. So, The other choices are incorrect because each item is essential to andragogy. So limiting the answer to a subset is incorrect. So 130 is letter C. Number 131. One of the major values education approaches wherein the learners are interactive, the person and the environment are mutually co-creators. Letter A, values inculcation approach. Letter B, values inculcation approach. Letter C, cognitive learning development approach. And letter D, values clarification approach. Ang tamang sagot dito ay cognitive learning development approach. Dapat ang sagot dito ay action learning, 'di ba? Kanya lang wala siya. So we just choose the it's the closest. Actually, the answer should be action learning approach, but it's not in the choices. So we go to the closest one, which is the cognitive learning development approach. Yung A and B, values inculcation, this focuses on direct transmission of values rather than interaction. And as a rule of thumb, we don't choose from two similar options. So basically, eliminate mo na yun parehong maling sagot, magkaparehong options. So letter D naman, values clarification approach involves personal reflection rather than interaction with the environment. So at least sa letter C, meron din ditong involvement, kaya lang wala talaga yung hinahanap natin na environment and the student are mutually co-creators. Anyway, so number 131 is letter C. Number 132, you wish to know if there is a relationship between creativity and IQ. The best methodology to use would be letter A, a cross-sectional study, letter B, correlations research, letter C, a longitudinal study, and letter D, experimental method. Your answer should be letter B, correlational research. Correlation research is used to determine whether there is a statistical relationship between two variables. So in this case, the variables are creativity and IQ, intelligence quotient. This method does not manipulate variable but analyze patterns of association. So yung letter A, cross-sectional study, compares different groups at one point in time but does not establish relationships. Yung longitudinal study naman, it tracks different variables over time but is unnecessary for simple correlation. At yung letter D, experimental method, it involves manipulation of variables which is not needed for determining relationships. So 132 is letter B. Number 133, one of the major values education approaches which is premised on the concepts of humanistic and transpersonal psychology. It focuses on learners' own experience of life in general. Letter A, values analysis approach. Letter B, values clarification approach. Letter C, action learning approach. And letter D, cognitive moral development approach. Your answer should be letter B, values clarification approach. Ang values clarification approach is based on humanistic psychology ni Carl Rogers and Abraham Maslow, notable persons, and emphasizes self-awareness, personal experiences, and individual choice in values development. Yung letter A, values analysis approach, focuses on critical thinking rather than personal experience. So, yung letter C naman, action learning approach, involves real-world application of values, not introspection. At yung letter D is based on stages of moral reasoning ni Kohlberg rather than experiential learning. So 133 is letter B. 134. St. Paul, one of the first Christian missionaries, said, "I planted the seed, Apollo watered it, and God made it grow." Which insight can be derived from what St. Paul stated above that can serve as inspiration teachers who feel that their teaching is going nowhere. Letter A, keep on teaching to the best of your ability, God will do the rest. Letter B, teaching is indeed a challenging career. You have to work with your colleagues to succeed. Letter C, just do your part. Your pupils are learning. You just can't see the concrete proof. And letter D, don't give up. Your students are learning, only that they don't tell you. The answer should be letter A. Keep on teaching to the best of your ability. God will do the rest. So 134. Well, so this reflects the philosophy of perseverance and faith in the learning process. So teachers should do their best, knowing that the impact of their teaching may not be immediately visible, but will manifest over time. Diba? Letter B and C focus on colleagues and unseen proof, but the core message is about trusting the process, not external validation. Yung letter D naman suggests that students are learning but not sharing their progress, which is a weaker interpretation of the passage. So the best is letter A. 134 is letter A. Number 135. Which of the following should a teacher applicant do? Letter A. Capitalize on the weakness of his competitors. Letter B. Seek the assistance of powerful and influential politicians. Letter C. Use his own record and merits as reference. And letter D. Apply for a position that is located in a remote place to ensure that there is no competitor. No, may mga available na item pag mga remote, remote places, mga bundok. Okay, ang sagot mo dapat dito ay letter C, use his own record and merits as reference. Pero sa totoong buhay, di ba? A, B, and D ang nangyayari. 135. Ethical job application practices emphasize honesty, integrity, and personal merit rather than external influence. Yung letter A, capitalizing on competitors' weakness is unethical. Yung letter B naman, seeking political influence encourages favoritism rather than meritocracy. At yung letter D, applying in a remote area to avoid competition, should be about passion, for teaching, not about job security. Well, anyway, as I've said, A, B, D are the reality, but the ideal is letter C. So 135 is letter C. 136. Why does the values education class need a democratic learning environment? Letter A, to develop learners' self-confidence. Letter B, to derive the right values. Letter C, to exclude the wrong values. And letter D, to achieve the real dialogue about issues. Your answer should be letter D. Diba? Kasi, ang democratic classroom allows for open discussion, multiple perspectives, and respect for diverse opinions, and they are essential for values education. So yung letter A, self-confidence, is important but it's not the primary purpose. Yung B and C naman, deriving and excluding values. So, values education is about exploration, not exclusion. So 136 is letter D. 137. Which of the following methods is most effective in teaching the value of social responsibility? Letter A, playing in a basketball game. Letter B, composing a song that expresses gratitude to teachers. Letter C, organizing a program to celebrate United Nations Day. And letter D, adapting a polluted river for a cleanup as a class project. And that is your answer, letter D. Service learning and real-life application of values, such as cleaning a polluted river, foster active participation in social responsibility. Yung letter A, basketball game, teaches teamwork but not direct social responsibility. Yung letter B naman, composing a song, expresses gratitude but does not involve social action. At yung letter C, United Nations Day program raises awareness but it lacks direct involvement. So 137 is letter D. Number 138. Which incomplete sentence is most fit to use in an unfinished sentence strategy for the valuing process? Letter A. If I were able to completely rid myself of fears, I would. Letter B. Former President Corazon Aquino died of blank. Letter C. The sea is blue because blank. Letter D. The second Catholic country in the Orient is blank. So, your answer should be Letter A, if I were able to completely rid myself of fears, I would blank. So unfinished sentence activities should prompt self-reflection and personal values exploration. So itong letter A, magtutulong to sa estudyante to think, to reflect, and to, to explore possible answers based on his or her values and knowledge. So 138 is letter A. 139. What method is based on a study comparing the television viewing habit of 3 groups of children? 3 groups of children. Letter A, cross-sectional. Letter B, experimental. Letter C, longitudinal. And letter D, cross-sequential. So, ang tamang sagot dito ay letter A, cross-sectional. Ang cross-sectional study compares different groups at a time or at the same point in time to analyze patterns and differences. So, tatlo yan. Tatlong grupo ng children yung kanyang i-compare at the same point in time. Yung experimental involves manipulation of variables, which is not the case here. Yung letter C naman, longitudinal, it tracks the same group over time, whereas cross-sectional studies different groups at one time. Yung letter D naman, cross-sectional, combines longitudinal and cross-sectional designs, which is not necessary here in this item. So 139 is letter A. Number 140, if in a valuing process I give my students an article to read and ask them to put a plus sign beside ideas they favor and a negative sign for ideas they do not favor, what valuing strategy did I use? Letter A, value continuum, coded papers, Likert scale, forced choice. Your answer should be letter B, coded papers. Diba? Excuse me. Coded papers help students categorize, reflect, and evaluate values in a structured way. So yung letter A, values continuum, involves a range. Halimbawa, strongly agree to strongly disagree rather than simple coding. Yung letter C naman uses a numerical scale, not symbols. At yung letter D, forced choice, requires picking between two contrasting values, unlike coded papers, which allow more flexibility. So 140 is letter B. And that's part 7 of set 6 of our values and majorship enhancement drills. Let's continue in the next video.